Steve Evans, first of all, how's your week been at Rugby End?
Yeah, it's been good. The boys have been bright. You went to our best Saturday, but when you win, everyone has that extra bounce, extra step. But we tried to keep on a level when there was a draw. So it's been a good week on the training ground despite Glasgow weather, freezing, wet, cold, windy, and again today. But it's we can have no complaints given the 6 or 7 months we had.
And considering it's now middle of November, still 3 points off the top of the league, that win on Saturday was so important to keep within touching distance.
Yeah, very important. I think I said it. The one thing that we all have to be careful is that Express Club Leyton Orient doesn't run away and become a Forest Green. I think it's in danger of doing so. There's not a fixture that comes up where you don't expect them to be able to win the game. And I thought they would go to Harrogate. I think I said it in the lead up to the game. I thought they would win there, and they did. So it's another weekend where we're trying to add a point or 3, and away from home in League Two is always really difficult, especially going to Blundell Park and Amanda Nowhere and Paul Hurst, who have his team meticulously organised and ready for us. So it'll be a tough game for us on Saturday, and to keep that leverage between us and Leyton Orient, and of course the teams immediately below us.
We've already seen it so many times this season, but even when we're not playing at our best, this team is still finding a way to win a game of football.
Well, we have fantastic players, more importantly, fantastic characters and men in the dressing room. They've got a fantastic, unique spirit amongst them all. I'm glad to say in the last 4 weeks I've no had my socks cut up, so that's good. Normally I'd come out after training, they'd be gone or cut up, but they know how to win. They know how to dig in when they have to. And we try and always find a way. And I think Sean Dyche once said to me, if you can't win by playing fluently and being dominating, find a way to win. And that's what we did last weekend.
And Danny Rose did just that on Saturday. His goals had over 10 million views on social media, I think. So is he still down to earth this week?
Oh yeah, listen, he knows what I'll say to him. If he's not, I think the players now laugh, call him son of the gaffer, and seeing your dad when he's doing shooting practice, what did your dad think of that? So there's a good bit of banter being flying around, but I think I've always said to you, he's one of those players that have a real affinity with, he's like a son. So from that point of view, he'll be very level. He's a very humble young man anyway, so he'll get on with working hard, but it's no surprise to me, the goal was so unique. I think we'd all be looking at it if it happened somewhere else, and it doesn't surprise me that those figures keep increasing.
And on to Saturday at Grimsby. It's always a tough place to go, and they're kicking up into a little bit of form as well recently. Yeah,
they've been in good form. They didn't get the best result in the derby for them last week at home to Doncaster, but look behind the stats. You don't have to look behind the stats. Dominant Grimsby in terms of possession on the ball, dominant with their chances, dominant with their set plays. But the boy Miller had a very inspired game for Doncaster, who's a good player, and young managers finding his way, and they found a way to win again. We're taking chances on the counter-attack. So Blundell Park will be tough on Saturday. What will also make it tough will be very cold, very wet, very windy, all the stuff we get here. But they'll be backed by good support. The great supporters at Grimsby, they get right behind the team. And that always makes it a tough away game in League Two.
And Grimsby, we know what this Stevenage team can do away from home, but their home record isn't worse either, so it's going to be a real tough game for both sides.
Yeah, listen, we have to just concentrate. I've always said it, we focus and concentrate on ourselves. I know that if we go and play very well, we should come back with something. But it is one of those grounds that you look around in League Two and you think that's especially tough. There is 4 or 5, 6 teams you look at, and then going there makes it more difficult. Paul does a great job up there. He's two spells. He's done a brilliant job. And he's got some really good players, players that were attracting the interest of a lot of clubs back in the summer, and Paul used his magic to get them there. So we'll be looking forward to it. I think this is a group of players that look forward to every game, and we're looking forward to a big week ahead. We have Grimsby on Saturday, we have a young Arsenal on Tuesday, and then we go to another brilliant non-league club in King's Lynn on Saturday, so a week Saturday. So a tough 7 days.
Yeah, the week ahead, that's 3 completely different games. Different oppositions, different venues, different types of game you're expecting. How do you prepare for that?
Well, it's just, we have to take one game at a time, so our only focus quite rightfully is Saturday at Blundell Park, and then when we leave Blundell Park, away home will be a bit understanding and learning what we've just witnessed for the previous 95 minutes, whatever the referee plays, and then our sole focus will become Arsenal. And when we play Arsenal on Tuesday night afterwards on the way home, and Wednesday morning we'll think about the FA Cup tie at Kings Lynn. So 3 very tough games, 3 very different opponents, probably 3 different styles of play from us, 3 different teams from us. So from that point of view, we'll see what happens on Saturday before we think too much about Arsenal.
And just finally, how's the squad looking? We saw Jake Taylor limped off on Saturday. Kane Smith's been missing for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think Kane's back in training. Kane's been back in the group since the other part of the week. Jake may miss the weekend. If he misses the weekend, he could and should be fit for Arsenal or Saturday. But we don't put any pressure on our injured players here. They have to come out with the medical room with the thumbs up from the medical department, and that's why they're employed and that's why they're here.
That's great.
Yeah.
Just sticking with the injured players, I saw Elliot List here a couple of weeks ago, and he was in his shorts and he was walking around and he looked all right. So how's his rehab?
Yeah, he's making real good progress at Listy. He goes to see the consultant first week in December, and he'll dictate whether he can step up his remedial work and start getting ready. So I think it's probably looking like probably late January, February when we genuinely see Elliot. If he gets any setbacks, it would probably make it end of the season. If he doesn't get setbacks, it would be a real boost to us, because we go back to that first day at Tranmere and he gets injured. I think we all thought the way home it wouldn't be as bad as what it was, but it turned out to be. Then we were all up and down, because he was such a key and influential player in pre-season. Caused a lot of teams in pre-season higher up the pyramid some real problems. But if he'd have carried on in that rate of form, I think he might have been sold by the end of August anyway. So from that point of view, we're disappointed to lose such a gifted young man.
Just going back to the weather, how does that affect training for you guys? Does it affect the players? Does it affect you?
Well, we're lucky in the sense that our pitches are magnificent. Our training ground pitches are bowling greens. There is no excuses for us not to train out here today. They're carpets. And that's thanks to the investment that went in the summer from the chairman. So we'll have no excuses on that front. And you can always tell where the lads come from, whether they're northern lads or southern lads. Southern lads tend to have an extra sweatshirt on, gloves. We've banned the gloves, we've banned the snoods, we've banned the hats. They don't exist. But it doesn't when they're out, so when they're out after 10, 15 minutes of warm, then they're throwing layers off like confetti, away they go. But now the boys are good. They're physically in a good place. They're all very fit and all wanting to play at Blundell Park on Saturday.
Just moving away from Stevenage, the World Cup starts this week, I think on Monday. What's your thoughts on a November, December World Cup? Because you are still at work, you're playing in training for.
Well, it shouldn't be in November and December, should it? I think we all know the reasons why. I don't want to be sued. I quite like that because I've got mortgage free. I quite like it. But I think we perhaps understand the reasons as to why they got the World Cup. And I think Nigel Clough's words, were very succinct in the way, because he doesn't think they should have it, and he's probably outlined the reasons more than me. There's other issues, and I think Harry and Gareth and the England team have demonstrated that really well by flying out in a Virgin plane that's liveried up. And I think all of us in the UK are open-minded to what people do in the world, where we don't live in a closed world. So, but the World Cup's going to take place. It's all kicking off on Sunday, and I'm a Scotsman, but I've been in England 30 years. I want England to do well, because I think it is a massive spin-off in everything else that happens in football. And we hope to have a spin-off locally. The Premier League closes down for 5 weeks. There's going to be a lot of withdrawal symptoms out there with a lot of the London club supporters who live in Stevenage and the villages, and we could be able to help. So, if you want to come and help us and support us and try and allow Stevenage to become a League One club and further up that pyramid in League Two. But the World Cup is ultimately when it happens, we'll all watch it. We will all be setting alarm clocks if it's at night time. But I think most of the games are time-wise are good for us.
Talking of a spin-off, I think it might end up that Arsenal, who arrive and have 1 or 2 players that perhaps wouldn't have played under a normal season.
Yeah, I think there'll be a strong Arsenal side here on Tuesday. I think they will even try to get a different date on it, so they can perhaps be stronger. But our calendar's full. That's in our travelling and all the stuff that we have to consider for ourselves. But they're an institution, Arsenal, aren't they? They're a great football club. I don't think there's any of the clubs that we could talk about in the Premier League that are not great clubs, but I think when you talk Arsenal, you're talking up there with the elite, aren't you? You're talking the Manchester United, the Liverpools, the Cities, you know, the Spurs, the Chelseas, West Ham. They're elite clubs, and we're hosting one of them on Tuesday. And every Arsenal fan in the town will be here for sure with their kiddies and all this stuff. And it's great. Creates a better atmosphere. And there's something to play for. We want to win and be 2 or 3 games from Wembley.
And just going back to the World Cup, what's your memories of it? My first World Cup I remember is 82, David Neary's goal against Brazil.
Yeah.
What's your memories?
My memories are not as good as that. My memories are being one of 100,000 people at Hampden Park to send people off to Argentina, Ali McLeod, and I played for Ali at one point. But he was so good, he convinced 100,000 people to be in Hampden, not to watch any game, just to wave the players away. And it was a disaster for Scotland. But my memories of the World Cup is we might enjoy the first week when we're there because we don't normally get a second week. But my memories are more about the qualifying stages. Who can forget Joe Jordan diving header at Hampden? I think 10 minutes from time to send us through. Who can forget Dalglish's goals? Who can forget some of the performances? Graham Souness, the Billy Bremner, just the whole echelons of the qualifying campaign was better for us because the final stages have never really been good.